At 6 o'clock, I'd like to call the meeting to order. If we get roll, please.
Opperly.
Here.
Barton.
Here.
Betteridge. Jones.
Here.
Shook. Spar.
Here.
And Warren.
Here.
Thank you.
Everybody had a chance to look at last month's minutes? All right. No amendments. I hear a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the April 22nd meeting.
Second.
Barton.
I have to abstain because I wasn't here last time.
Jones.
Yes.
Shook. Spar.
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
Opperly.
Yes.
Thank you.
Roger, do we need to do the first?
Yeah, just do that first.
Okay, we need to, I know we did it last month, or the chairman and the election, so we have to make it official. So do we just need a motion for, or to just keep as is, or?
Yeah, I would prefer the motion recite who is being appointed chairman and vice
Okay.
chair.
I would make the motion that we keep Mike Warren as a chair,
And Grant is the...
as Grant as vice chair.
Second.
Okay, Barton.
Yes?
Opperly.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Spar.
Yes.
And Warren.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, our first case tonight is number 13-6. Sam Perez requesting a variance for a building addition at 226 West Adams, zoned I-2. The building is an existing non-conforming structure, thereby requiring a variance of any expansion. The building addition will meet all setback requirements. Sam, could you step up and have Arlene swear you in?
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
My request, I think the easiest way to show you is on the picture here, but currently the confectionery, if everybody knows where the confectionery little door is that you come in off the parking lot, there's a couple things. They're spread throughout this building in about 3 different spots. So for me to go in and give them the opportunity to get everything under one little area is rather tough. So we decided we would make an addition to the building, one, to give them a nice storefront, their own entry, but also to get them in the under the same square footage that so what we're looking to do is come out here 40 feet along Morton Building's parking lot, come back across 50 and back in. And obviously it's a non-conforming building, so I had to get this variance. The property line runs very close. Roger, you might know better because I've never really searched it, but it runs awfully close to where the building is today, along Morton Buildings.
That's right.
And I'd be glad to answer any questions. It's 40 by 50, about 2,000 square foot is what we're adding.
Does anybody in the audience wish to comment or want to comment to this case? I don't have any questions. I think for confectionery, it'd probably be really nice for them.
I know they're looking forward to it.
Been needed.
There's no question, the board?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that grant case number 130610102C as stated.
I'll second it.
Jones.
Yes.
Spar.
Yes.
Barton.
Yes.
Opperly.
Yes.
And Warren.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next case is case number 1305. Scott Lennington is requesting a variance for a garage at 333 South Carroll Avenue, zoned R1. The required rear setback is 18 foot 9. Requested variance of 8 foot 3 will allow a setback of 10 foot 6. Scott, you have Arlene swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Scott. I bought that house, 333 South Carroll, in 2010. And when I bought it, it was about an 800 square foot ranch. Completely gutted the whole thing, added a second story, remodeled it from top to bottom. In the back is a garage that was there when I bought it that was in about the same shape that the house was in. And I have a picture here. It's not very good, but you can look at it. That's what was there. And I tore that down to build a new one.
Scott, you said you put this thing on the garage, you added on for the back, you put it on a kennel with a dog?
Yeah, there in the back of the garage, it was all overgrown with trees and just debris. There was a dog kennel back there, so when I built the new garage, I just cleaned all that up, went in, underpinned that floor, fixed it all up, and erected the new structure.
Because this does put us in a real predicament here as far as, doing that. Encroaching on the neighbors, because it is big, when you're driving down and looking at it from the back side. And you didn't have a clue that we needed a permit for that?
Well, I had a permit to do the house and was under the impression that it was all included. That garage has been like that for over a year.
Who brought it to your attention?
Roger did.
We had a similar case on Nelson Street, and the same type of scenario. I know it's a bad deal. Because I know if you'd come in and wanted a variance, I don't think I would have gave you one, that big, that close to your, the rear lot line.
When you got your original permit, was the garage already in that plan?
I thought it was, but apparently it wasn't. I mean, the whole job was, the whole property was completely run down. I mean, it was, I can count on one hand how many original boards are left in that place.
I guess my question is, did you ever present a site plan?
Uh,
I don't know if we even require a site plan, but was there one ever, whether there was one, did the site plan show it?
No.
So it didn't show it. All right.
Anybody in the audience wish to comment in this case? I don't know. I don't want to. We're both in the business. I think we know better, but.
It puts us in a predicament. I mean, I think if we tell one person, tear it down or redo it, it makes for a tough situation. I don't think you can apply.
That's just stick right now. You just got the upstairs just sticked and trusses on it. I mean, there's nothing.
no, no. The house doesn't have a basement, it's just storage.
And to the peak, what is that to the peak then of that?
Where's my drawing?
19
It's on the
like
drawing,
19
I
foot.
believe.
19 feet?
Have there been any complaints from neighbors?
Not from any of my neighbors, no.
Well, it depends on how tall your walls are.
Hey, Roger, how was it brought to your attention? Was it, I mean, and I'm not asking for any names. I'm saying,
No.
is it something that you noticed, or is it just?
Yeah,
Okay.
somebody in the neighborhood called me about something that they wanted to do, and I
And
was
then you
standing in
happened-
their backyard, and I
You
looked to the
noticed it.
north, and I saw it.
So if you needed this, if you were coming in for this variance, what would your hardship be as far as needing the extra space or encroaching on that rear lot line? What would your hardship be?
Well, the only hardship is there's no basement to the house. It needs some storage. Like I said, I didn't plan on that as a dimension. The kennel was there, and behind the garage, it was a mess.
Yeah.
So it made perfect sense.
Yeah, I don't see that kennel there. That's what I'm trying to look at there.
That's just a concrete pad.
Where is it?
Well, it was right behind there.
I mean, it's not there now in that picture. I don't know when that was taken.
A couple of years ago.
And that's the original garage there.
Mm-hmm.
So did you pave up to the original garage then?
Yeah.
And then you took that garage down
Yeah,
and started?
yeah. You can see from the picture, it was all grass and weeds.
Right, that's what I was.
Well, I don't mind people improving their property. I just like to see it done, you know.
And like I said, it was miscommunication. I had a permit to do the whole house.
Yeah.
And I'm a builder here in town. I've built lots of places, and I've always had a permit.
Yeah.
It's just a misunderstanding.
Was that the case on Nelson, that it was a misunderstanding? I mean,
They actually come in for a variance and he added
oh.
on to the variance, yeah. Yeah.
As you consider your options as a board, from the perspective of legal counsel, as you evaluate hardship to determine whether this request meets the requirements to grant a variance, ordinarily my advice and recommendation is hardship of the applicant's own creation should not be factored in as a hardship. Because if you create the hardship yourself, i.e. build without the proper permission to begin with, it does not seem to mirror the hardship envisioned by Illinois law. So in other words, if you create the hardship, that alone is not a sufficient hardship ordinarily, in my opinion, when evaluating whether there's sufficient grounds to grant a variance. Because you create a precedent that anyone can create their own hardship and thereby satisfy the statutory requirements. So you almost have to, as you evaluate hardship, abstract the fact that the garage is there, remove that from your consideration, in my opinion, at least for evaluating that element.
What do you have in your walls? Those are 14-foot walls?
Yeah.
Well, with the hardship, counsel explained that one, I don't know. I know where I want to go with it, but I don't know. So hardship for storage, you know, is his creation.
To clarify, his position is, the hardship is he doesn't have storage in the house because there's no basement. And that certainly is, I'm not suggesting that you exclude that from consideration, but I am suggesting you can't consider the hardship to be, in my opinion, that a garage is there, and if you didn't give him the variance, he'd have to take it down, the one he built, because that would be a hardship of his own creation. The lack of a basement, I don't have a problem with the board weighing that as a potential hardship.
When you built the garage, did you have any other options of directions you could have built?
The width of it is exactly the same as the pad. Like I said, I didn't have a scheme. It was just, I just built what was there.
Was the other garage 37 feet deep?
No, no.
How deep was it?
Probably somewhere between 28, 29.
think garage is that deep.
Pretty deep garage.
It's almost 800 square feet, size of the original house.
Am I looking at the original garage? Is that, or is this,
Yeah, that's your.
that's the original garage right there?
Doesn't look that big.
Yeah, I can't imagine they had that big a garage back then. I mean, that one does not look that big.
26, 28, I don't know exactly
Yeah.
what it was.
That's huge.
It scales about 26 feet.
Okay.
About 11 feet deeper.
And in all fairness, your neighbors, some neighbors won't say anything because they don't want to create a, you know, don't want any contact as far as saying stuff like that, as far as they don't like it or not. And as far as I'm concerned now, that's not my problem.
I have a question. When was this photo taken, just approximately?
Probably like the spring of 2010.
And when was it that you did away with it and erected what you have?
Well, the construction of the house took a good year, so it was right after that.
I mean, I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking, and however they vote and we vote, it is what it is. But here's my thoughts, okay? In 2010, that's when you bought it. I mean, I can see if you had this property for 20 years, and let's say you had more kids getting older, you needed more space, that I understand. But on the surface, I'm thinking, okay, if you had it since February of 2010, you knew it didn't have a basement then, how much additional storage did you need as far as causing a hardship? I know when you have kids, family grows, you need more room. But in February of 2010, to me, that's the thing that I find to be the drawback as far as...
When I bought the house, it was a 1 or 2 bedroom.
Right, but you knew that going in,
Right, but I went in going in to put the second story on. I turned the house into a 27 or 2,300 square foot house. I almost, 2.5 times the size of it.
Did you put room and attics in on the house?
No,
You just got,
no, we added a whole second story.
I just thought maybe room and attics might have been a good thought for that. You need storage.
One other point for the board, the variance is for setback. So the variance isn't to have a garage, it's to have a garage closer to the property line than what's ordinarily allowed. So as you consider whether the hardship justifies whether you make the required findings that the hardship justifies a variance, even without a variance, there can still be a garage in the backyard. What you're considering is whether the garage can be too close to the property line than what's ordinarily allowed. So I wanted to context, I don't mean to interject myself too often here, but I wanted to context what you're evaluating based upon the criteria of your code and the criteria of Illinois law.
I guess, Scott, my concern is that this case would most likely set a precedent that if something was built in fear of not being granted a variance, and it was discovered that during construction or after construction it was out of code, and we allowed this to happen, that would be a way around not getting your variance granted. I'm not sure anybody would remember the case, but, it sets that.
Could the garage be altered at this time?
It's almost done. I want to alter it. I'm not trying to pull a fast one over anybody, you guys. Come on. It's 12 feet back to the back of the property. There's a fence back there. It's all fenced off. Nobody's complaining. I'm not trying to pull a fast one over anybody. If I was going to do that, why would I pull a permit to do the house? I mean, I had to go to court. I got a ticket. I got a $460 fine. Plus I had to pay for this. Plus I have to pay. I mean, it's a $1,000 mistake. I've learned my lesson. I understand.
I don't think it's a case that we want to sit here and punish anybody, you know?
Well, that's kind of what it sounds like.
That's not my position, so I want to make that clear. I'm not here to punish anybody, just to look at the case and come up with, you know, a solution, one way or the other. That's why I'm here. It's
Yeah.
not to punish you.
Yeah, I didn't mean to infer, Scott, that you did it purposely by any means to get around that, if that's how it came off. That's,
And I don't think you did it on purpose either. I think, honestly, if you look at that picture there, I wouldn't want to, if I had a choice to live next to what you've got now versus this, I'd say I want to live next to what you've done. But it doesn't change the fact, you know?
This board's prerogative, Scott, is to evaluate whether you meet the criteria set forth in Illinois law to be granted a variance. The board does not have carte blanche authority to grant variances whenever circumstances dictate. They evaluate specific criteria contained in the code to evaluate whether you meet that. So I want to remind you of what the board is looking at is that criteria and whether you meet that.
Well, does anybody else have any comments, or? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I approve that we grant case number 13-05 under 1010-2C as stated.
second.
Barton,
I'll say yes, but I'm really sure.
Opperly,
No.
Jones.
No.
Spar,
No.
Warren.
No.
Thank you.
You'll have to get with Roger and we'll figure something out. Sorry it worked out that way. All right. Well, Roger?
Nothing.
Mr. Newhouse?
Nothing tonight.
Cindy?
Nothing tonight.
I do appreciate the interjection on that.
That's very helpful.
Okay, with that, do I hear a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Have roll, please.
I'm sorry, did somebody second that?
Second.
Opperly,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
Spar,
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.